Hi guys, I am so sorry for being silent for a few days. Um, it's just been a lot going on, so it's been really hard to find some place, a quiet place actually in our house. We have construction going on. We had Nabil was out of school sick for a little while, so we just had like full house all day long, every day. So it's been difficult to just even find 5 minutes of quiet and peace. Um, so finally, I got myself a little bit of time, and I want to share what we've been studying this week. So this week in our calls with our team, we're studying Brian Tracy, and Brian Tracy is my favorite guy, really. I discovered his audio program on ultimate goal setting. It's free. You can find it on Hoopla, on YouTube. He has like a full program, not shorts, but a real program. Is It was life changing for us. When we started in the business, it was one of the most important things we've learned is to set goals, to write goals based on the guidance and teachings that Brian Tracy did. But throughout this week, we are studying a little short advice from him, and one thing that we've covered is on habits, on the fact that 95% of everything that we do on a daily basis is a result of a habit. And many of us have poor habits. We have habits to avoid new information. We have habits to do the same things over and over again, even if they don't yield a good result, right? We have, some obviously bad habits, but we also have, some habits we don't even know we have, like negative thinking, like rehashing bad situations, or, you know, um, uh, just a lot of different poor habits related to health, right? To dealing with stress. These days, it seems stress is here to stay at a much higher levels than we've ever had it. So we gotta work on healthier habits. And so this is one thing that we've been kind of learning is that you can't just give up a habit, right? So in fact, some of the construction guys that are working in our house, they're trying to quit smoking, right? And so if you're trying to quit smoking and your break during your workday was to go out for a smoke, and now you don't have it because you're giving it up, right? Then you gotta put something in place so that you don't default back to smoking, right? So, sometimes it could be a run, could be for a walk and listen to a podcast, or, maybe, I don't know, eat something healthy, just so that whatever the time and associations you had around the bad habit, you replace with a good habit. So that's in fact what Brian Tracy was talking about, is making sure that we replace poor habits with better habits. And then he was talking about the fact that good habits are really hard to learn, but they're easy to live with, and bad habits are easy to adopt, easy to learn, but really hard to live with. And so many of us live a hard life because of the habits we've uh, consciously or subconsciously put into our lives. And so, one thing that the habits we've discussed throughout this week is, first of all, you want to make sure that you plan your day ahead of time, right? So the night before, or at least the first thing in the morning. That's a habit that's worth developing, right? There is a habit of focusing on your most important task until it's done before you start going all over the place. That's been my downfall this week because we had so many projects in the house and I work from home. So it almost like my work and my daily activities went haywire because there was all these other things happening in the house that required my attention or demanded, or maybe they didn't, but because I was available, I was constantly distracted, right? So making sure that whatever you identify as your most important task for the day, that's the one we work on. And Brian Tracy, he recommends to look at your list if you have a list, right? And you should have a list and ask yourself, okay, which one of these tasks I absolutely have to get done if I have to go out of town tomorrow for like 3 weeks? Like what just cannot wait possibly? And work on that first, right? I like that. I also brought some ideas from Tim Grover. Tim Grover is the coach who wrote the book Winning. He was the coach for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and he talks about the list. When you have a list of things to do, not to number it number one, number two, number three, because it automatically suggests lower priorities. No, you number everything number one. So when you work on the task, you really truly put all your focus on it. So number one, number one, number one, number one. But then what Brian Tracy suggests, how to identify the number one you're going to focus on first is imagine you're leaving the town, right? So I really liked it. There is also, we talked about developing a habit of goal setting, developing a habit of being result oriented, not the activity oriented, not to feel good just because you did something, but feel good about achieving a result before you move on to something else. Becoming people oriented, that's a habit that really pays off long term. When people tell me, well, I'm not that good with people, I don't want to be with people, that's what are you good with if you're not good with people? People are around us in every aspect of our lives, and the better we become in being a great source of connection, human connection, the better our life will be. So that's one of the habits that's really worth developing. Building relationships with people day in and day out in your professional life, like with our neighbors. I'm so glad we just moved here, but yesterday when there was a shooting in our town, I had neighbors texting me and calling me, coordinating to see what help was needed to pick up the kids from school and stuff like this, because I built relationships even though we've just moved, right? But that's the idea. You build relationships so that you have an enriched connection in your life, whether that's difficult times or not so difficult times. And the same for business, the same for your career. All people are everywhere, so make sure that's your strength, not your weakness, right? And then the habit of being health oriented, whether the way you eat. We are primarily a vegan household with a little bit of vegetarian. It was a transition. It's been 3 years now, but it takes time to develop some healthier habits. It doesn't happen overnight. In fact, I tried to be vegetarian before and I had to quit. It didn't work out, all kinds of, but now it works, right? So it's a habit. Once it becomes a habit, you no longer have to think about it. I don't have to think about giving up dairy because there hasn't been a dairy anything in my fridge for 3 years, right? But it takes time. It takes time to get used your body to healthy habits. The same with the exercise. So, but it's a great habit to develop. And of course, the character development habit, serving, doing good things, all this stuff, it's a habit. It's not going to happen if we're not purposefully trying to do it, if it's not part of your commitment or schedule or things like this. And then the biggest habit that Brian Tracy has recommended is, of course, the habit of self-discipline, because it holds all these habits together. And so, the way you look at these habits, it seems like, oh, that's a lot of habits to develop. Some of us may have some of them, some of us may not. But the whole idea is these are the habits you need to develop throughout your life. It's not like you have to start on all of them and have all the healthy habits developed right away. No, we have to remember the concept of micro steps. So you just do a little bit better today than you did before towards a healthier habit, right? So you don't have to change everything at once in every area. That's not sustainable. It's difficult. We'll probably quit before we start just because it seems overwhelming. But this is a bigger picture. It's what you need to develop, or what we need to develop throughout our lives, right? And so if you think about it like a baby in the womb, they are not developing all the organs, all the eyes, ears, hair, everything at once. No, it's step by step. First, it's very little, developments on the molecular level, on the cellular level, and then it adds on, adds on, adds on, adds on. It's not all at once. It's not possible. Same here. All of the habits, all of the virtues, all of the different things that we are designing in our life to become better versions of ourselves, it takes time, and we don't have to work on them all at once. We introduce them little by little. So I just thought this is really helpful to kind of have a bigger picture of what areas and if you study Brian Tracy, which I highly recommend, he has a lot of short things on Facebook, a lot of little just pieces of advice, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and they're deceptively simple. Everything he talks about, you're like, oh, okay, that's common sense. Oh, that's obvious. But simple things are not always easy. As a friend of mine, Sierra, said today in our training, right? You can't assume that just because it's simple, then it's given, right? We got to be working towards it. And so I like how he's very simple, but he gives a lot of ideas how to better your life and how to become more successful. I do want to end this video with an invitation to explore Primerica opportunity if you haven't explored it yet in terms of your supplemental income. And the reason I want to talk about it because I just see, I've been thinking about it so much. And I see the construction workers that are helping us with our house renovations. And you see, it's a lot of physical labor. And even though it seems expensive for us, but in terms of what they're making net, it's you work a lot of hours for 8-hour days, and as a team of three, the total is very, very minimal. And in financial industry, because of how the compensation system works, we can make what a team of construction workers makes in a day, we can make in 20 minutes. We can make in an hour. And so these are the licenses that are so worth getting and developing the skill sets. We also help people in some of the most important areas. Like these days, life insurance has become, you don't have to convince people they need it. It's so obvious because every day, like literally in the last 3 weeks, I don't think there was a day in my life where there was no news about somebody passing away. Somebody passes away from COVID, somebody passes away from heart attack, somebody passes away from cancer, somebody passes away from an accident. Yesterday we had a shooting. Like you never know what's going to happen, but things happen. And so what we do in financial industry is we help people prepare just in case. Now, God forbid nothing happens, but if I get a news about our client passing away, I spring into action. I know I have to call home office. I know we're going to be delivering a check for that family for life insurance proceeds so that they're not going to be financially strained while they're going through grief and loss. And that makes me feel like we've really done something very special, that we've really prepared somebody. And so Primerica pays for our licenses. Primerica allows people to start part-time. So somebody who does construction work during the day can do this business part-time in the evenings and make more in one evening than they make in a full day worth of physical labor. So that's the greatest thing about Primerica opportunity. You could be an engineer, you could be a teacher, you could be a nurse. We have tons of nurses and teachers, but also you could be a person without a college degree. You could be in physical labor, as long as you are able to pass the exam, as long as you are able to pass criminal background check, you don't have any criminal background, you can give yourself a shot to build a business here with our company by providing a tremendously valuable service to the community and without the risk to your current career. So I realize I haven't been plugging in Primerica too much. I've been mostly talking about life coaching, but all of the things that I'm learning and developing are really part of the culture of our company and our business. And I want to invite you to come and explore, because it has been an incredible journey for us, for our family, for me and Mojan. Mojan was able to quit his job so that we could work together. It has contributed to our marriage and our family tremendously. And the whole idea of a business that is focused on service, that we get paid because someone else get helped, that is a phenomenal place to be. I look forward to my work every single day. I get so excited every morning because I'm doing something I love and I know it makes an impact. It makes an impact on our agents. It makes an impact on our clients, right? So this month is a life insurance awareness month. I'm actually thinking of doing a few shorts on live videos on educating about basics of life insurance. This is my real true area of expertise is life insurance, investments, financial planning. But September I'm going to do a few of those to make sure we understand it, because it's a simple concept very, very few people know much about. Anyways, today is a little longer. I've collected all this information. I've been looking forward to sharing with you all. I appreciate you guys joining. Those of you who watched and those of you who will watch later, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next time.